All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of From the Suggestion Box, navigating feedback, the good, the bad, and the say what. Today, the guest that I have, and I know I tell you guys this all the time, but I legitimately mean it every time. Why am I going to bring on a guest that I'm not excited about having on, right? So,
That's true.
this beautiful human being that you see before you, I am so thrilled to have her. This is Miss Angela Reynolds. Please welcome her to the podcast. Angela, how are you today?
Yay. I'm so happy to be here. I'm like flat out excited.
I'm happy to have you. Y'all, let me tell you a little bit about Miss Reynolds here. She is the creator of Joyful Leadership, a transformational leadership framework that helps leaders reconnect with who they are before they focus on what they do. Can we say that again for the people in the back? Drawing from decades of experience leading people through complex workplace challenges, Angela teaches that sustainable leadership begins with character, self-awareness, and emotional alignment, not performance alone. Her mission is to help individuals and organizations build cultures where people thrive, leadership is authentic, and success is rooted in wisdom, joy, appreciation, and growth. I mean, yeah, yes, yes, yes,
Listen.
yes. I am so excited to talk about all of these things today. So, just to give you a little background, I had the opportunity of meeting Angela through a mutual friend. And through that connection, the conversations that we were having, Angela actually ended up becoming my executive coach. I highly believe in coaches, right? Like a lot of us are out here doing things and thinking that we can do it and don't need that guidance. Listen, if Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and all of these superstar athletes and people who are doing all these things, if they were considered the best in the world, the GOAT, and they had a coach, why do I think that I am going to be at the top of my game without getting that type of guidance? So I am thrilled to have Angela as my executive coach. And as I was going through as we were going through the coaching sessions and understanding the framework that she uses, I was like, girl, people need to hear about this. This is not something we need to sit on. So I invited her and I asked her if she would come to the podcast, and she graciously said yes. So Angela, again, welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That was such a wonderful introduction. Thank you. That felt good. It felt right. I think I got chills.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
I mean, you should
Yeah,
because you're
thank you. I
phenomenal. All right,
appreciate
so
you.
listen, I'm going to get down to brass tacks. I'm going to be straight up, right? Girl, what is joyful leadership? I'm not going to lie. That sounds like butterflies and unicorns. And oh my gosh, we're going to joyfully lead because we know leadership is not easy. And it just sounds like, oh, I'm going to smile through it. So can you please like break that down for me? Because this joyful
Yeah.
leadership thing just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like it can be off-putting the word itself, right? Because we often confuse joyful with like this emotion, this happiness. So I agree, and I get you. It does sound like butterflies. It's not. It's not. It's not. It is just an operating system. It's a place that I operate from. It's a place that I return to, especially when I'm having difficult situations or when I have to make difficult decisions.
Mhm.
So nothing about this is emotion. It's not this feeling of bounciness. It is a feeling of clarity. It's a feeling of being able to make these decisions that are going to not only be suitable for me who's making them, but also for the people who are on the receiving end of those decisions. So it's a back and forth, it's a balance, it's a two-way experience. And it helps keep me centered. You know, the truth is that being joyful doesn't mean that I don't make tough decisions. I make very tough decisions that have a huge impact on people's lives.
Mhm.
So it's this clarity, it's this wisdom that I bring with it, and I make those decisions. So it's not a feeling or an emotion.
You know, I love that because in one of my organizations that I worked with, this person used to always say, facts, not feelings, facts, not feelings. Um,
Yep.
so, but let's talk a little bit about it. You talk about like this is your framework and like it's kind of where you operate from. But if
Mhm.
that's just not something that I do, how can I lead in such a way that, I'm not necessarily built like you. So how
Mhm.
does that framework still work for me?
That's such a great question. And you're right. You're not built like me. People are like diamonds, right? We're all individual. So no two are alike. Even though we may look alike, we're not, or things may be similar, but they're not. So with what I do is you do these different assessments, and we've all done these core values assessments. Everyone has, right? Every organization has it. They are plastered on the walls and in our company handbook. So they're there, but it's the character traits. We all have these inherent character traits that we just come to the planet with. And it's the things that we kind of push to a side. Some people are so forgiving and then they get criticized for always forgiving people. And then they kind of like, I want to shut that part off of myself.
Mm,
So, but it's something that it's inherent in who you are. So for me, joy is something that's inherent in who I am. So what I do is I give people these character assessments. It's very simple. You do a character assessment and you're really, the word kind of calls you. It's not like core values where you pick your words. The
hmm
character assessments is something that resonates with you that's already inside of you. If that makes sense the way I'm saying it. If not,
hmm
let me know. I'll give it to you a different way.
Because you're a
And
good coach like that.
and so because I know that sometimes I explain things and so easy, it's because it's from an internal perspective. But so for me, one of my character traits is joy. Another one of my character traits is wisdom. So those are the two things that inherently, no matter what, I've come to the planet with these things, no matter what I'm experiencing, not just in my career, in my personal life, because these are things, like I said, that I came to the planet with. So it's something that I've returned to. So when those core values fail me, I can return back to this operating system. And it helps me realign myself. So, for an individual like yourself, whose character traits are completely different, you would reconnect with your character traits. And once you reconnect with those character traits, you begin to make decisions based off of that operating system. And it just helps regulate your nervous system. It helps regulate your nervous system when you're in these situations where your core values are failing you, so to speak.
Yeah, I really love that because just and full transparency in some of our sessions, I come to you and like, I have no idea what to do about this. And you're like, well, let's return to like and I love that you said like your operating system and not necessarily your core values, because your core values might fail you, but your operating system never will. And it's funny because you said earlier, you're like, oh, you do a simple character trait. Girl, that thing was not simple. I did that thing, and you were like, no, no, dig deeper. Nope, no, ma'am, try again, try again. But what I loved about it, and it's something that I say all the time, is that before you can lead others, you have to know to the core who you are before you can lead others. And especially in particular, like when a lot of us, we're leading volunteers, right? So we are dealing with multiple personalities and different, backgrounds, and everybody's ready to tell you about you. And they
Mhm.
have ideas about you coming from where they're coming from. And especially like if they're trying to navigate feedback and they're filling out surveys and they're saying all these things. And one of the things I've always tell people is like, you have to know who you are, because sometimes that feedback isn't about you, it's about them. But if you don't know who you are, you don't know how to decipher that. Um, so yes.
And I that's spot on. Like I'm giving you this virtual high five. You do. And I think a lot of times, what I've experienced is that people often confuse self-awareness with self-identity. And
Speak
it's
more,
huge.
please.
So
Speak
when
more.
so when we start saying, you have to know who you are, that is resoundingly true. But it's also understanding the difference between self-identity. So a lot of leaders identify themselves with their accomplishments, with their title, what they have, you know, what they pretty much what you do. I identify myself with all these different things. Do you know who I've had a leader say to me, do you know who I am? Like, no, I don't, but I know how I experience you.
Mm.
You understand me?
Wait, hold
I
on.
don't know.
Oh, wait. Please say that again.
I know how I experience you. And what you're experiencing is what's happening within that individual's operating system and their core values. It doesn't make a difference what's coming out of their mouth. It's how you're experiencing it. How are they showing up? And
Mm,
that's the part that I think we kind of confuse that awareness with that self identity. When you are truly, truly self aware, you're aware of the impact and influence you have on others. It's not just what you know about yourself. It's what impact am I leaving on others? How do people feel when I walk into a room? You
mm.
know, and how do they feel when I leave? Do they feel relieved, like, oh my God? Are they tensed when I walk in? Or is this open energy? Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, but I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Two things. Number one, you don't always know that. People won't pe okay, you're like, oh, how do people know how you feel when you walk in a room? Sometimes they're not going to tell you, but when you walk out the room, they'll tell six other people. So
Yeah, that's
number
true.
one,
Hmm.
and then number two, how do you get to the point where you know, like, how do you become self-aware that you can detect that? Because I think I love exactly what you said because I'm like super hypersensitive to that. Like, okay, how are people experiencing me? Like, how are they? But I really tried to like read the room. I ask people, I ask, but not everybody does that. And sometimes you don't even know how you have affected the room after you leave. And so how can you accommodate that if you don't like how can you change it if you don't even know?
Yeah, that is the awareness part. That is the
Mhm.
self-awareness part. And it's exactly what I said. Self-aware people are aware of the impact and influence they have on others. How are they greeting you? You
Mm,
know, we're whether we choose to realize it or not, leadership isn't just a tangible thing.
mm,
It's not just the hard skills. It really is the soft skills. It is the intuition. It is the energetic feedback that we're getting from others. And a lot of times we don't want to acknowledge it because some people don't want to seem so flighty about it. But the truth is that people do feel human. We're human. We're supposed to. And
mhm,
learning how to trust those feelings. Um, I've been in conversations with leaders, especially when I'm managing at work. And I look at their body language. Are they tensing up? Are they shrinking in their seat? Do they
mm,
feel, like, are they able to, is the body open? Like, you know, communication. So it's such a large percentage of communication is nonverbal. It isn't just the words
mhm,
that comes out of our mouths. It's,
mhm,
are we reflecting this tension? Are we closed? Are we open? Are we smiling? What is the eyes communicating with us? And I think as leaders, we have such a larger responsibility. It's not just do the work, do the work, do the work. Believe it or not, we are actually responsible for how we influence people. Now,
mm,
that doesn't mean um, making people feel a certain way. I'm not responsible for your feelings. I am not responsible for what you feel. You own your feelings. However, I am aware that I can influence your feelings. I am aware that I can influence you and make you feel empowered when you finish a conversation with me. I am aware that I can have a conversation that makes a person become a bit more self reflective
mm.
and question their own, their intentions, their actions. So I'm
Okay,
aware of that. Go
okay,
ahead.
yeah, no, that's great. I love everything about it in theory. Let's do real talk, okay?
Okay,
Um,
go ahead. Real
there
talk.
is somebody who is
Mhm.
constantly showing up late for a meeting,
Mm.
showing up late
Mhm,
constantly, constantly, constantly. Now,
mhm.
I know in some of our coaching, I know you've
Right.
talked to me about how to handle some of those things, and clearly I am still learning. So let me just put that disclaimer out there, y'all. Nicole is
Yeah.
still learning. Nicole is still
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah.
But how do okay, I'm so glad that you said that, right? Because you and I have this conversation all the time. Like, I'm very direct. I'll be like, bruh, like, why you keep showing up late? Like, is everything going on? Like, what's going on? Like, how do you get to, how do you, what's going on? But sometimes, in that direct manner doesn't work with people, and that gets people to shut down. They retract. And I haven't solved the issue. So, but you just said how that person feels well, listen, what I heard was how that person feels isn't my problem, but I'm sure that's not what you said. Uh,
No, that's not what I said. But let's but hold on before you go. Let's hold it. Let's really think about that. Let's unpack that because that's really powerful. One, it's not just about your operating system. Remember, I said self-aware people are aware of the impact and influence they have on others, right? So
yeah,
it's also being able to understand where other people are operating from, even if
yeah.
I don't know, even if I can't articulate what their operating system is, I can see that there's a dysfunction there. So for
Mm-hmm.
this individual that's showing up late, right? One, I think one of the things that I think I said this to you, I know I said to someone else, like they said, what do you do when, well, one, if I'm late, the person who's late knows that they're late. So you telling them they're late reinforces whatever they got going on the inside. They already know it. It gives them another reason to feel bad about themselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's me being able to say to that individual, wow, you know what? When the meeting starts and you're here, I always feel like it's going to be a great meeting. Now you're giving that person an opportunity to kind of reflect and maybe say, maybe I should be here on, maybe I should be here on time. I miss your presence when you're not here. Can you get here on time? Go ahead, I'm listening.
I have a question.
Go on, girl.
But do you mean it when you say it?
If they're invited to the meeting, then their presence is important,
Mm,
or they wouldn't be
mm,
invited to the meeting. Doesn't make a difference how you feel about the person.
mm.
It doesn't make a difference. Then that's where you get, step away from that, like, not like an individual. If they're invited to the meeting, then their presence is important. And they must add value or they wouldn't be there because we know how to not invite people, right?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So, and then when we think of operating systems and we think of core values, we always think of positive ones, but some people, core value is lateness
Hmm.
because it's how they're this is how people can experience them. And think about it. Not every like people say, well, leadership is a core value. Yeah, but gangs have leaders too, right? So it's not just a positive, right? So that's when that operating system comes in and starts to govern those core
Mm.
values. So this individual, they could be, and I don't know, so we're just going to pretend, whatever Jack or Jill's issue is, but maybe they don't know their own value. Maybe, you know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So sometimes, listen, when I was younger, I used to be late for everything, and if my boss is watching, he's going to say she's still late now. So, but but it's not knowing your own worth. It's not knowing your own value, and it's not thinking you're important enough to be there. But when you understand your importance, you show up.
Mm.
When you understand your value, and when you're such a major contribution to a thing, you show up. And this isn't a rule of thumb. There's going to always be outliers. And I'm not saying that this is 100%, but it certainly changes your perspective when and I'm not saying that, oh, they can't do it without me. I'm saying I'm a part of the whole. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Ubuntu. I am because we are. Yes,
Okay.
it's that
Ubuntu.
teamwork. Yes,
Okay, then.
it's that
I
African
like it.
proverb, ma'am. Yes,
Listen,
ma'am.
okay, touche. Wait a minute. Or should I say ashe?
Oh,
I
Ashe. Oh, I mean, however you want to say
okay.
it, it works for
Go
me.
ahead.
Um, okay. It's just it's
Let's take
all
our time with it.
so
Yeah, it's
good.
a lot. It's a lot.
No, because you know what? This is going to end up turning into like a virtual, like people going to be sitting in on my coaching session. Like I'm trying to get them to learn more a little bit about you, and I'm like, I'm swiftly dry. Like, now tell me about, remember that
No,
other situation? No, I'm just kidding.
listen, no,
Uh,
I get it. It's tough. I want to say this, Nicole. It is tough. And it doesn't mean that, I don't get challenged because I do.
mhm,
I can think of a situation where so my core values are, like I said, well, that was I spoke about my character traits, which is wisdom and joy. My core values are growth and appreciation.
mhm,
For me, your core values are your roadmap, right? It's what you're going to experience along the way, but it's also what people are going to experience and what they can expect from you. So for me, since my core value is growth and appreciation, I've made a commitment to myself that I cannot complain about the same thing every year or I'm not growing,
mhm,
right? So I
mhm,
have to grow. The only time growth is bidirectional is in its early stages where like a seed, you plant a seed, the roots grow down before the plant goes up. So that's the only time growth is bi-directional. After that, growth is, is for us to evolve and
Mhm.
expand. So when I get to a point where and also appreciation is also a core value. So it's important for me to feel appreciated in my relationships, but I say it out loud. I want to feel appreciated and I want people to know how much I appreciate them. And I experience that as an action word. But when I'm in a situation and I don't feel appreciated and it's challenged
Mhm.
and someone is this is directly targeted towards me as the individual, not my work, me as the individual. And then
Mhm.
sometimes that happens at work, you
Mhm.
know. Um, it's uncomfortable and it can really dysregulate me. It can dysregulate me. And I find myself like, how do I get out of this? I can't rely on those core values. Sometimes it feels like, and it's not like they leave, but you feel like they've left the room. Like those core values have exited the room. And
Mhm.
now you find yourself in this quandary. You can't think, you don't have any clarity, and your emotions are starting to take over because
Mhm.
now what happens? The mind goes, oh, the last time I felt like this is what happens. And that's just the way the
Mhm.
mind works. That's the way we
Mhm.
process information. But the ability now to reconnect with those character traits, wisdom and joy, right? So I could be so emotionally affected by what just happened that I can't connect to joy. I
Mm.
just can't. And that's my awareness. I'm not talking about happy. It's my awareness. I just can't find it. That's when I have to sit with myself and I have to allow wisdom to do its job.
Mm.
It's not what you do, is what those character traits do inside of you, if that makes sense exactly the way I'm saying it. It's like a computer system, right? It does exactly what it's supposed to do if you let it.
Mm.
So for me, in those types of situations, when I feel myself challenged and like I said, the navigation system, those core values, they are gone. I cannot operate from them. I can't reconnect with them. I have to just sit and I have to allow wisdom to do its job. Wisdom begins to regulate me.
Mm.
Then it begins to connect me with joy again. Now, again, we're not talking about happiness because I still may be upset. I still may be feeling hurt or angry or whatever the thing, whatever feeling I'm feeling, because we're still human.
Mhm.
It's not the erasure of those emotions, it's the ability to regulate them.
Mhm.
So now I'm able to make these decisions. How am I going to go forward? So now I have this experience of joy, this awareness, this clarity that's inside of me, and wisdom is taking me. Now we're reconnecting again with growth and appreciation. And now I'm able to make these decisions.
Okay. So, a couple of things. Number
Go
one,
for
I
it.
like that computer system that you said. So, is it accurate? I mean, because maybe I'm taking the analogy too far. So just, tell me if I need to bring it
We're
back.
going we gonna find out that.
But you said like a computer system, like if you just it will do what it's supposed to do if you allow it to do,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, if you allow it to do it. But also like a computer, does the analogy work to where it's junk in, junk out too? Or is that am I stretching?
Yeah, no, no. I like what you did there. So think about it this way. Girl, I just hugged you. I did,
Feel
I
it.
did, I
Feel it.
did. You know why? Because, we tend to hold on to feelings.
Mm,
We tend to we hold on, pay attention. You're not holding on to the experience. You're holding on to
correct.
the feeling of the experience.
Correct.
And every time we relive this feeling, it's very real for us. And we have this neurological response, right? We become dysregulated. And what that looks like on the individual will depend on whatever the experience is. And so we're holding on to all of these things. And, I often tell people, you know, um, I have Meryl on my job. She always says to me, "You got to remember, what did she say? Oh, give them grace, give them grace."
Mm,
She says it all the time. It's being able to say, "I'm feeling this. This individual did something, and it's very real." We're not dismissing the validity of what this individual did. If it's wrong, it's wrong, right?
mm,
And that's also how we look at it. But do I have to hold on to the feeling of it? If
mm,
you know feeling angry doesn't feel good in your body, then why are you holding on to it? What do they say?
Mm.
Is that they say being angry at a person is swallowing poison,
Yeah.
thinking that the right
Yeah.
intended
And
for
think
the
of the other
individual,
person. Yeah.
right? And so it's the ability to say, this happened. I don't like the way it feels. I'm just going to let it go. That
Mm.
doesn't mean continue, to allow this person in your space. I think a lot of times we feel like forgiveness means allowing the person back in. No, it means now setting a healthy boundary. It means now saying, listen, the last time we were in this conversation, you said ABC. Let's not do that again. And it's just that clear. It doesn't have to be angry. Leadership isn't, I tell people that your title is your authority. You don't have to yell. You don't have to be mean.
Mm.
You don't. Your title really is just your authority. I can look at an employee and say, hey, do me a favor, don't do that again. I can speak to one of my managers and say, hey, listen, the next time I give you this, I expect you to follow it. But then there's the accountability. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go finish the
Yeah, but then
accountability.
then there's the accountability, and I think a lot of times we fall short on the accountability,
Mm.
and sometimes that may look like a more serious conversation. If it means it follows up with some kind of documentation, then it follows up with documentation. But what we don't realize is that when you hold people accountable, you're actually helping them become better versions of themselves. So I'll never forget, someone was doing something that they should not do, and I won't go into detail because it wasn't a good thing. And finally, someone said, stop. And you know what they said? I was waiting for someone to tell me to stop.
What?
Yeah. It's so I think we have to hold people accountable to be better without being punitive. That does not mean, right, but that does not mean that there's no action that should be taken. It just means I don't have to make you feel bad in order for me to make this decision.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Just make the decision. Why do we have to beat people up? Make the decision. And that's where I function from my operating system. And when my operating system is in alignment with my navigation system.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Go,
Couple of things. Couple of things.
go.
You said your title is your authority. Is that what you
Your
said?
title, yeah,
You
your title is your
okay.
authority.
So what happens if your title is coordinator and the challenge you're having is with manager? If what you just said, your title is your authority, but my manager outranks me, how does that work?
Because you still have the authority to do what you're responsible for. It
Mm.
doesn't it doesn't mean that you're taking authority even as a leader. Even for the managers that report to me, my authority is not over that individual. I'm not looking to have authority, and I tell them I want to lead with a joyful heart. If I needed to pull rank, I can, but that's why do I need to do that? When
Hmm.
I say your title is your authority, it means it gives you the authority to execute what's within my realm to do.
It kind of reminds me of truth to power a little bit.
Mm,
Like if
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter who or whatever, if you are operating within what you are supposed to be doing, then
It flows.
yeah.
It
Okay.
flows. It's like who's the most important person in the operating room? People like the surgeon.
Yeah.
Somebody was like anesthesiologist, because if they don't mix that cocktail right, you're gonna wake up and you ain't gonna be happy.
Right.
Somebody else is like the suture nurse. Someone else is like, the person who's checking the vitals. Someone else is like, the surgical tech. And we have all of these moving parts, but the truth of the matter is if the custodial worker, if the housekeeping department
Mhm.
doesn't clean that room, that person can have an infection. They can have MRSA. They can have C. diff. So they're all very
Mhm.
important.
Mhm.
I remember I was doing an interview and this woman was talking about um, the curatorial department in the museum is the most important. They're the most important. People are here for the art. And I said, well, no, I think all the departments are equally, important and valuable. So she goes, well, how can you compare the custodial department to the art? And I said, what's one of the most viewed works of art in the world? The Mona Lisa. She said, oh, fantastic. If the Mona Lisa was here and we had thousands of people lined up to come see this Mona Lisa. And there was a big black garbage bag sitting in front of the Mona Lisa. What do you think they're going to talk about? The Mona Lisa or the garbage?
Hmm. Or if they had to wait in line and all the toilets weren't clean in the bathroom, they're gonna talk about
Right. They're
how
going to talk.
nasty the place was.
So it's the only, I think we tend to add value to our paycheck. We
Mm,
tend to add value to our degree. We tend to add, but those are the things that's that self-identity thing.
mm.
Because I identify myself with my paycheck, my years of schooling, my degree. We're not paying attention to the value that we bring to each other and how, if we truly, truly operate from our operating system and our navigation system, when they are aligned, there's no need to compete. You become more creative than competitive.
Are y'all listening? Do you see why I needed her to come on? Are
I
y'all
ain't
listening?
messing with
Oh
you.
my goodness. All right. Okay. I have two more things. I want to lean
Go.
in just a little bit
Let's
um
go. Let's
on
go
that
deep.
on that accountability thing because
Go.
accountability is huge for me. I don't know. It could be one of my characteristics, my values. It could be all of it put together. Um And so, but the accountability without being punitive. Okay, I said I'm pulling it all together, right? So you said we need to hold people accountable because it's actually doing them a favor when we do. But often when you try to hold people accountable, they don't want to hear it. They might feel like it is punitive. And earlier you said their feelings are not our responsibility. So, how do you pull all of those things together? How do you hold somebody accountable in such a way that it's not punitive and and it doesn't feel like that? Can you give us like an actual example? Because in theory, it sounds amazing. And I'm like, I want to go do it tomorrow. But when I've tried it, it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked yet so far. I mean, not for everybody, because everybody's different. Everybody's going to receive things differently. You could say the exact same thing to two different people, they're going to take it differently. But how do you do accountability, non-punitive accountability?
Two things I want to say. I think a lot of times people use accountability and responsibility interchangeably
Mhm.
without realizing it. Um, a lot of times we want people to be responsible for their actions. We want people to be responsible for the behavior. We want people to be responsible for whatever disruption they're calling,
Mm,
they're causing. And so we're looking for them to own it, right? And
yeah.
so when you claim responsibility, like who did this? I'm responsible for that. But that is not the same as holding the individual accountable. When you hold people accountable, that's when you expect a behavioral change. If you hold yourself accountable, then you're expecting a behavioral change. Holding people responsible means you want that person to acknowledge my behavior, I messed up, or maybe I'm the problem. And I think a lot of times we think we're holding people accountable, but what we really want is we want them to acknowledge what they're doing. And holding someone accountable is not, when I say it's not punitive, it's saying, okay, you did ABC. How can you hold yourself accountable to not repeat these steps again? What would that look like? So if Jack is coming to the board meetings late, right? And Jack reports to you, Jack, listen, you don't need me to tell you how valuable your presence is. That's why we invite you to the board meeting. How can you hold yourself accountable to be here? What is that going to look like for you? What steps can you take to hold yourself accountable? You're not responsible for Jack's behavior. You're responsible for holding Jack accountable to doing it. And what that would look like, and in other words, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You cannot make Jack get to the board meeting on time. If Jill's going to be late, Jill's going to be late. But now, what you do out of your title, out of your authority, you say, well, as part of what I do and what I'm responsible for and what I'm accountable for is I'm going to document this. And if this continues, this is what happens. But you have to be consistent in what you say. You can't let up and you cannot let the emotions drive the decision.
So,
Punitive, go ahead.
okay,
I'm
no, go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead. Finish.
And so you said that I said holding someone accountable is doing them a favor. I don't think it's doing them a favor. I think it's providing a service.
Mm,
And that's what steward leadership is like. It's These are the options. This is what we have. This is what's happening. When you do this, this is what's happening. This is what needs to happen. And I think when you hold people in, like when you respond to people from a place of servant leadership, so to speak, it's my job is to help you become the best version of yourself. I've actually said to people, do you ever think that maybe this is not the right place for you? If coming here every day doesn't bring out the best in you, if coming here every day doesn't inspire you to make better decisions, listen, you're talented, you're gifted. If you weren't, you wouldn't be here. But maybe this is the here that you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be somewhere else. Don't change yourself, change the environment.
Girl. Okay.
And that's another step in accountability. And it doesn't, again, I'm not being punitive. I've said to some people, leave with your dignity.
Mm.
If you know that you're at a pinnacle where you cannot change, you've reached that point and you cannot meet the expectations. If you don't leave, then I'm going to follow through on what I need to do. When I tell you, Nicole, I've made such decisions to where people say they understand it. They're like, I can't be upset.
Mm.
But go ahead. I don't, and I hope I'm answering your
Girl,
question.
you are answering like yes,
Okay.
yes, and more. Okay, so this is the girl. Every time you speak, I get like 10 more questions, and we don't have that much time. So hold on.
We're gonna have to do part two.
We gonna have to do part two.
Go ahead.
So here's the thing. Is it an unrealistic expectation to want people to take responsibility and we just need to let that go? Because the leadership part is the accountability, not the like leaning in on that responsibility. So if we're always trying to take people like get people to admit, oh, I didn't do, is that an unrealistic expectation on our part and we just let it go?
I think you can get stuck there. I
Okay.
think if a person doesn't admit that they did it, then we think that stops us from moving forward, from holding them accountable. If you are complete,
Mm.
do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if the individual refuses to hold themselves to say I'm responsible, to own it, right? That this is what I'm doing, that should not stop you from holding them accountable. If in fact it's so clear. Like if it's
Sure.
clear that um blah 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 blah, this individual is needed to complete a report, to complete a project, right? And they don't want to hold themselves responsible by saying, hey, my job is, my input is what's slowing this up. That doesn't, just because they don't hold themselves responsible, or you trying to make them hold themselves responsible, right? Admit it, doesn't mean that you don't hold them accountable.
Mm.
Accountability, I don't have to hold, I don't need your response. I don't need you to hold yourself responsible or to admit responsibility in order for me to hold you accountable. If you don't admit it, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't need you to admit it.
Yeah.
I'm still going to hold you accountable. And at some point, I hope that they can then begin to see the responsibility that they play in this decision and whatever it is.
Okay.
But you don't have to make people feel bad.
Right, right, right. And I personally don't think that anybody wakes up in the morning as they're drinking their coffee, like, I'm gonna make so and so feel bad. Like, I just don't believe that people have that intention. I think a lot of it is residual. Like I use the example like in kickboxing, right? Like if you're in kickboxing class and you guys are practicing and you're sparring and you're just supposed to be going through the motions and then somebody does like a round kick and gets a little bit too close and like kicks you in the stomach, their intention was never to hurt you. But as the person on the receiving end, even though I understand that wasn't your intention, it doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Like I'm on the ground, I'm like gasping for air. I know you didn't do it, but it doesn't mean that I wasn't impacted by it. And so I just feel like
Yeah.
sometimes, and in my knowing, I'm like, just give me a minute. I know you didn't mean it. Just, and sometimes I feel like maybe that's almost where what we need to adopt a little bit of just giving people give them grace, right? Maybe
Right.
people it's giving them the benefit. of the doubt.
But you know what I want to say? Not but, and sometimes people do mean it.
Oh, okay. I was trying, y'all. I was trying.
No, but because again, joyful leadership isn't about the flowers. It's not about this false sense of leadership where you're just making everyone out to be positive. Sometimes people are not operating from a positive place.
Mm,
Sometimes hurt people hurt people.
right.
Sometimes people who are confused bring confusion to others.
Mm,
It's if someone's drowning and you don't know how to swim, two people can drown,
right.
right? So it's then you have people who will just project whatever they're feeling, like they've reached this boiling point, and sometimes leadership looks like this boilerplate, right? And so they get to a point where they just erupt, and they're hurting so bad that they want to make the people around them hurt, they want to make the
Mm,
people around them suffer.
mm-hmm.
And it's not, and again, it's that doesn't mean that this individual is a bad person. I can't tell you how many examples I've seen where I hear people say, well, Jill wasn't like this when she started. You
Mm,
know, she
mm,
wasn't like this. So
mm-hmm.
she must be
Mm-hmm.
going through a lot. She must be going
Mm-hmm.
through. Now, again, that doesn't excuse the behavior.
Right.
And yeah, you are literally hurting people. But I don't believe that people are just this inherent, mean people or intentionally causing
Right.
disruption in an organization. And again, I think I think you are who you are wherever you are. So I
Yep.
don't believe that at home someone is all happy and loving and
Right.
kind, and then when they go to work they become someone different. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. I'm sure we have if I spoke to a few of your family members or some ex-partners, they may say that they can see it. Well, I can see how that happened.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's just this balance, and that is evidence of a dysregulated nervous system. That is when you know that this person is not working in alignment. And it doesn't feel good, but now you have the wisdom when you see it to say, think about it this way. You ever see a child throw a temper tantrum?
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to do something and they're mad and they just start throwing blocks. Well, guess what? Sometimes we have this unhealed child inside of us that starts to throw temper tantrums and other people are on the receiving end of it. I'm
Mm.
not saying it's right. I'm saying when you understand it, you know how to move forward.
Okay. So, all right. I'm gonna wrap this up because we definitely gonna have to do a part two because we are running short. But I just the last thing I want to ask you, well, there's two things, and one of them is going to be how can people reach out to you? How can they contact you? Because I know you are going to be doing workshops on all of these things, and so how they can like follow you and so that they know when these things are happening to get. So that's my second question. My first question though is I just kind of want to hit the 3 points just to kind of wrap it up because I heard you talk about characteristics, core values, and operating system. Can you just kind of define what each one is and how it works, like the how it works in order? And then we need to let people know how to reach you because yes,
Okay. So you heard me say character traits, core values, you heard me say operating system, and you heard me say navigation
and
system.
navigation system,
Okay.
yes.
So your character traits are your operating system,
Okay.
meaning this is how the thing is built, right? So when we think of a computer, that operating system is built in. It is a built-in system. So when you think of your character traits, you think is this is my built-in system. I came to the planet with this ability.
Okay.
And we all have it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along the line we lose touch with it, but it is always there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your core values is something that evolves over time, and it could
Mm.
evolve based on your needs, based on your circumstances. It's your navigation system. It's your roadmap, right? It's how you're going to navigate through life. Now, there are points in our life, even though we can disconnect from our operating system, we can rely on our navigation system, those core values. We can rely on them for a decent amount of time, right? That navigation system will just drive you. It's going to take you, right? And that's your core values. It's what you expect from people, but it's also what people can expect from you. It's how people are experiencing you.
Mm-hmm.
That navigation system is I'm taking you on this journey. right? This is what you're going to see. This people are going to see you and you are going to see people. It's what you also unconsciously look for in others. Your operating system, because it's yours, you don't own it. You're not even unconsciously looking for it in others. Like I'm not looking for wisdom in others. I'm not looking for joy for people to experience it that way in others. My core values, I do.
Okay.
And if I let me just say one more thing because
Go
I don't
ahead.
know. I see your eyes going in your head. Think of it as your purpose and your calling, right?
Mm.
So people use that interchangeably. Kobe Bryant, his calling was basketball. You put a ball in his hand, he goes, right? There are people who can sing. They don't need any lessons. It's something that these people could just sing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet there's a sadness in them.
Mm.
Some people can have all the money in the world, they can do all of these things, but they say something's missing. I don't know what it is.
Mm.
You have wealthy people who commit suicide. You
Mm-hmm.
could take the best brain surgeon in the world and he makes all the money, he has a beautiful family and kids and vacation homes, but he's sad. Like what's happening? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a disconnection from that operating system. That operating system, when you put that operating system with that core value or your calling on how people are experiencing you, it's what makes you function in this level of balance. So think of your purposes. Your purpose is, well, what are you created for? Right? It's the why. It's your internal why. So your purpose is your operating system and your calling is your core values.
So would it be also easy to, or would it be factual? Oh, would it be accurate to say your why would be your purpose and the how is your character?
Yes.
Okay.
Ah, girl. Say it again. Say it again for the people in
Okay.
the back. Say
Like,
it
what
out
did I
loud.
say? No, no.
Say it
So
out loud.
your why would be your purpose and your how are your character traits.
No, no, your how is your value.
Oh, okay.
You had it right when you said your how is your calling.
Oh, I didn't get that far. So, okay.
Oh, so your why, put make your A column right now. So
Okay.
everybody who's listening who wants to really get this, so simple. Two columns, and I hope we're not going over. If we are, forgive us. So you got your first column, right?
Hmm.
Put on top of that column your operating system.
Okay.
Your operating system is your built-in. It is built in. Your computer comes with a built-in operating system, right?
Hmm.
That is your purpose, right? That is why. That's your why. So you got your operating system, that's your character, and your character traits function with your operating system. Your character traits are built in with the operating system.
Okay.
We don't change them. It's how we're designed.
Okay.
Now, your next column, put your navigation system.
Okay.
That's what's taking you through life. That's your roadmap, right? That's what's giving you the directions, how you're going to show up. That's what people are experiencing from you. That is your calling.
Hmm.
That is your core values. That is your navigation system.
And that is your
So,
how.
and that is your how. Yes, that's your how. That's your how. That's how you're going to do it. So the best example is if let's say a person who has a core value of abundance, right? That's my core. And they can teach people how to become wealthy, right? They can teach people how to become wealthy. They're wealthy themselves. If they're, if they have if their operating system isn't functional, they can now get abundance through negative measures. They can rob, they can steal, right? They
Mm.
can do all these different schemes. They can, take advantage of people. But when you have an operating system that's functioning and operating the way that it aligned, then that's when you say, well, you know what? I'm going to do it from a place of wisdom. I'm going to do it from a place of joy. I'm going to do it from a place of integrity. All these other character traits that we have, right? You're
Okay.
going to do it from those different places as opposed to doing it from a negative way.
Okay. I promise this is the last question, and then we have
I,
to wrap it
I,
up. I
I
promise.
know this is your show. Go
But,
ahead.
so this is all phenomenal. And I think I already heard like the one thing that that separates this from people are taking personality tests and, all of those tests that people can take to understand like their characteristics or like, I don't know, there's, people like I'm a A or a D. I don't know. There's all those
INTJ, yeah.
yeah, there's all those different tests, things that are out there. I already heard what the difference it is for me. But if somebody were to come to you and talk to you about this, what is the difference in talking to you and joyful leadership and the why and the how and the operating system and the navigation system? How is that different than the Enneagram, like then going to take an
Hmm.
Enneagram or
Hmm.
what is the difference?
So the difference is when you look at those things, right? They tell you based off of your personality
Mm,
where you can go, what field is best suited for you, what kind of relationships work with your personality, right? Those are personality assessments, right? They tell you where you can go. And so we'll take those tests and we say, oh, I'm here, but then there's still something missing because it doesn't teach you the person, doesn't help you reconnect with the person who is actually doing the work, right? So it's like they say, you can do this, you can do that, you can do all these things. I think those tests are completely useful. I think they are amazing. I can't tell you how many leaders have taken those tests, but yet they're still stuck.
right. Yep.
So they got the roadmap. They got this is how you can do it. This is how you can do it. This is how you can lead. But
Mm,
then leaders still get to a point where I don't know what to do from here. So I
right.
have all this information. Joyful leadership reconnects the leader, reconnects the individual with who they actually are. And it's a return to who you actually are.
And
It's
that is how,
remembering who you are.
I'm sorry, say
Good.
that one more time.
It's remembering who you are.
Mm,
It's the remembering. It's like, oh, this resonates, you know? It's when we do these, think about it, when we do all these other exams, we have to try to remember, what did they say, how did they say I should do this with the, because you're trying to remember a behavior, right? Like how am I supposed to behave, how am I supposed to react, how am I supposed to respond? But it doesn't teach you how to remember how to be yourself.
mm.
Joyful leadership teaches leaders how to be themselves. It's who you are before the title. It's who you are before all this other stuff, before you became a leader, before you went to school. And it is so basic. If you know anything about personal training or working out, that we see a lot of imbalances in a person's body, but look at your walk and see, we typically take people back to their basics. Do the quadruped, do the bird dog, because it helps the body realign itself. Joyful leadership helps you realign with who you are. Now, once you realign with who you are, you can take all of these other personality assessments, and you can expand, you can grow, you can evolve, and you can do it.
And with that, everyone, Miss Angela Reynolds, how can people get in touch with you? How can they follow you? Maybe
Listen,
if they want to take their own
oh
assessment,
my
how do
gosh.
they reach you?
I can give you my email address.
Okay.
My email address is areynolds.clpc at gmail.com.
And you're on LinkedIn too, right? So people
I
can
am on
connect with you.
LinkedIn. I'm
Okay,
on
so we
LinkedIn
can.
as Angela Reynolds.
Excellent, excellent. So
Yep.
I'll put all of that information in the show notes.
Thank you.
Angela, thank you
Yes.
so much for my personal coaching session that I just happened to let everybody in on. Um, but just like sharing your knowledge and your wealth, like I said, I was like, everything that you have to share is so powerful. And I believe in when I find something good to share it because sharing is caring in the best of ways. So everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining us for this episode of From the Suggestion Box, Navigating Feedback, the good, the bad, and the say what. Please like,
Say
share.
what?
Yes, girl. So please subscribe, like, and share this if you think that other people need to hear and feast on this amazingness that Angela has for us today. Angela, thank you so much for being here today.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Talk to you next time. Bye bye.